So I was told to record these in landscape mode, but I can't see it in landscape mode. Oh well. Here's my vlog for today. Woke up early, did the thing I shouldn't do, which is log into Reddit, and saw that Daniel Green has a problem. I know what it is. I'm going to reserve judgment until I read a little bit more. I'm not a fan of that. Yeah. So here's your motivation. No one is going to read your work if you don't do the work. And what I'm saying is, you have to not just create your artwork, but you also have to make it available to people. If it's languishing on a hard drive somewhere, then how am I supposed to read about it? Like, I can only care as much as you care. Does that make sense? I'm a big fan of your work. Yes, whatever you're doing. You do great work, except for you, Steve. But I can't be a bigger booster of your work than you are of your own work, right? If you don't let people know about it, if you don't say, hey, I'm going to put myself out there, then how am I supposed to know, right? I might be a super fan. Like, I found an author that I'm a super fan of, and she has just posted like 8 chapters. Like, did not expect that to happen, right? Like I had this thing with Delve where I would read every chapter, and it's like each chapter is like 8,000 words, and I'm like, I love Delve. It is completely unpublishable, but it is great. It is so crunchy. And the same thing, I don't know what you're gonna write. I don't know what you're gonna create, but I might like it. But I'll never find it if you don't take that step, right? And so that's why I'm on people this year about like, okay, great, you created something. You need to do the basics. You need to join a writers group, writers critique group specifically. You need to do some weekly accountability with the group. Okay, you need to keep writing every day. You need to kind of keep track. I should title this. I do have an idea. All right, yes. So here's my thing. So I'm going to title this Things I Learned from Writing 6 Books in a Year. And this will be my clickbaity title. And I'm going to go through the things that I learned. Okay, so the first thing is, I was not tracked. So in 2022, I wrote a book. I wrote Sect Leader. And I wrote what was the first book of Nascent Soul Child. And like into the second book. I was not really tracking my daily word count, which is something I started on January 1st, 2023. Right, so I've done that from then until now. And then I put that on my accountability group, on my critique group, my accountability group, to do the same thing this year. So every day, or like every week, you'll post like, hey, this is the word count I had per day. So what I started doing is monitoring, right? So it's a strategy of monitoring where I'm not judging what I'm doing. I'm just writing it down. So I did this in nutrition. Like, I don't want you to change anything. I want you to just write your what you're eating for 3 days, right? Write that down in your journal. Give it to me. I'm your coach, right? Same thing with writing. I want you to write down how many words you've written, like in an Excel spreadsheet or like in a notebook, however you want to track it, right? So you're monitoring that. And then after a while, you're going to say, okay, at the time I started writing, I was writing 400 words a day or 500 words a day. Okay. Let me see if I can get 500 a day. So I started that, right? So then I slowly edged that up to 1,600 words a day. And that was my average in February, right? So 1,600 words a day. And I'm like, okay, I've got this solid. I started dictating my notes, right? So you'll see some artifact if you read my work. It has been edited of dictation, where the software for my Google Pixel, this bad boy right here, has reinterpreted what I said in a humorous way, which means everyone's like, oh, you have to edit. If you're dictating your notes, I've written about this in my blog, just dictate your notes and edit later, right? So I'll do 15 minutes of dictation. I'll write about 1,500 words to 2,000 in that time, just by like talking about it. And then I'll spend 5 minutes editing it later. The trick is I hate editing my own work, so I have to come back later. Usually it was come back a month later. All right, so I'm monitoring the amount of words that I'm doing. I'm tracking the daily thing, and then I'm seeing like, are there days in which I'm having problems? And then are there days in which I'm succeeding, right? So what I figured out was, right now, my problem is I'm not getting words late at night, right? I have kids, I'm a dad, I come home from work and I'm dad mode. Okay, my kids are my priority. I have to get the words in before I get home. So that means morning, lunchtime, before I get home, whatever works, right? So I'm monitoring that, I'm keeping track of that, and now I'm like, okay, this year I'm not gonna try to push myself to write on the weekends. I'm gonna try to edit on the weekends, but I am gonna try to push my average count to about 3,000 a day on the days that I work. So if I work Monday through Friday, I'm gonna try to get 3,000 words. Okay. What else did I do? And then I had 2 challenges. I had the the April challenge, where I did Caravan of Blades, which is in Kickstarter right now. You can go check it out. I started writing that. I wrote a chapter a day. I wrote 2,500 words-ish chapters. I wrote a chapter a day. For a month, I posted a chapter every day. And then following that, I posted 3 chapters a week. Yes. Until it was done. That took me about 4 months, right? So each book is about 30 to 40 chapters. So like you figure 3 to 4 months. That was 4 books I wrote. The final book is posting this week in that series on Royal Road. I finished Nascent Soul Child, right? So, and then I started posting, so like an idiot, I started posting that during the tail end of it, because I was like, all right, I saw how much backlog I had. So like your backlog is how much room you have between the day that you have to post and then the day that the thing is due, right? So like if I'm posting 3 chapters a week, that means I have to write 3 chapters a week. But I also don't want to have to write the chapter for tomorrow, today. I want to have written that already so I can write the chapter that's due in like 2 months. It makes sense. And so I did that challenge in the Camp Nano April Write-a-thon. I'm not doing any more challenges this year. I'm just going to go straight through. And then I did Gamer Manager, which I didn't know where that was going. I just had the idea. So like Nascent Soul Child was an idea I just had to get out. Now that I'm almost done with the series and I'm very happy with it. Caravan of Blades, I had to get that out because it was just like begging to get out. Gamer Manager, I read way too much Play Manager and it had to get out. And I kind of feel that way about Bodega Cat, but I'm like, I don't have a launch pressure window. I need to finish this one. At the very end of the posting of Nascent Soul Child, I will post Bodega Cat. It's my intent. But I do want to have like 150,000 words of backlog, like 50 chapters, something like that. Like a book and a half. And then I can write the romantasy novel I want to write. So what I'm saying is, if you're tracking, if you're monitoring what you're doing daily, and you can figure out what days are good, what days are bad, you can try to figure out what's happening on the bad days to increase that. So like the goal is you're not having a 0 day. You're having every day is productive. That's the strategy. And the tactic is what you're doing day by day to do that. So your strategy is monitoring. Your tactic is, I'm going to write before I get to work. I'm going to write at lunch. I'm going to bust my phone out, get into Obsidian and write when I have the chance. And that is something you have to determine as a writer. Like I can go on process. Like I just went over my process a little bit, but like every writer I know has a little bit of a process. Some of them can't write not on a computer. I have to edit on a computer usually, but you will develop your process as you do it. And like the thing that I've been telling new writers, especially Civitas, is to get that out, finish that first draft, and then when you're ready for your second series or your second book, then you can start being strategic about it. Like right now, I just need you to get out there and get eyes on it, and then if it's trash, we'll tell you it's trash, and then me and your friends will just be like, okay, here's how you fix it, and we'll be gentle about it. Actually, no, I won't be gentle. I'll be mean as, you know how mean I'm going to be, especially after hearing that freaking allegations about Daniel Green. Maybe this channel will turn into fantasy news. I don't know. We'll see. I feel like I got a lot on my plate right now. But I did just finish 2 series, so I don't have to worry about those anymore. Caravan and Plagues ends this week. And I gotta see if people like the ending. I like the ending, although I feel like the 4th book is short. But we'll see. All right, that's your thoughts for today. That's how I wrote 6 books in a year. I've finished 1 book this year. I'm about to finish a second one. Finished Game Manager, fully available on Railroad. It's with the editors, and I'm about to finish Nathan's Old Child, Volume 3, The Mandate of Bullshit. Although that is probably going to get a really heavy rebrand once I figure out what I want to rebrand it as. Okay. Good luck.